Welcome to Take Me to the Cloud, a place for business professionals to hear insights and best practices from industry experts that combine cloud systems, operations, supply chain, and finance.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us for another episode of Take Me to the Cloud SuiteWorld Edition. I'm your host, Melissa Holton. We are live today at SuiteWorld in Las Vegas, Nevada. And today I am joined by our NetSuite practice manager, Luis Palmatesta, and also Lawrence Cooper from RF Smart. And today we're going to talk about warehouse management and different systems that are integrated within NetSuite. Luis, take it away.
Thank you, Melissa. Hi, Lawrence. How are you?
Thank you for having me.
No worries. We're very happy to be here at Las Vegas. So we wanted to actually have a quick conversation with you about the WMS. And we're gonna understand a bit why WMS and when do we start evaluating a WMS.
Yeah. So, WMS is something that's really important for a lot of businesses, especially businesses that move on to NetSuite or have been on NetSuite for a while. For a lot of companies, if you're a wholesale distributor or you have inventory of any kind, often inventory is your largest asset, right? And so as your largest asset, it's important to have accuracy with that asset and efficiency when it comes to the way that you transact with those assets, right? So that's really where WMS comes into play for things like receiving inventory all the way through picking, cycle counting. If you want to have accurate inventory, you want to make sure you're fulfilling orders in an efficient, fast manner. That's really where WMS comes into play, reducing a lot of that manual data entry. As far as when you should evaluate, warehouse management system, it's important to consider, a couple of things. Like one, how are your current, inventory practices, right? Because certainly it's good to have things cleaned up in NetSuite, before you maybe get into a warehouse management system. But at the same time, a warehouse management system can help clean up a lot of your inventory data if you're having a lot of discrepancies. So if you're seeing a lot of discrepancies with warehouse management or with inventory management in NetSuite, then a warehouse management system is really important to evaluate. If you're not seeing a lot of discrepancies, but you're looking to take your operations to the next level, then that's another great opportunity to start exploring a WMS and see how it can most fit. And that's really what RF Smart is. So RF Smart is a warehouse management system built natively within the NetSuite platform, and we help customers to automate their inventory management processes within NetSuite.
Great. Thanks. So we basically had these two options now to decide if we go to WMS or not. And can you talk a little bit about the WMS architecture? There's several ways, right? So we can use the WMS.
Yeah, that's really important. So the way that a software is built, right, from an architecture standpoint, its connection with NetSuite is really important. So we built our solution as a native suite app. The first thing that you want to look at when you're looking at architecture for any SDN partner or application you're going to use within NetSuite is, are they built for NetSuite certified, right? It's really important to make sure that you are working with built for NetSuite certified applications, because that's going to give you more security on making sure that the software actually has a good, tight integration with NetSuite. Now, it's important that there's three different types of built for NetSuite certifications. There's hybrid, integrated, and native. So the difference between them is hybrid and integrated solutions are built out primarily outside of the NetSuite platform and have an integration that connects via API back into NetSuite. So two separate databases syncing information back and forth, right? Whereas a native application, which is what RF Smart is built entirely within the NetSuite platform. There's no separate databases. We're a bundle install within NetSuite. So we decided to build our solution strategically as a native application within NetSuite because we believe it's important to keep NetSuite as that single source of truth and not have to worry about managing separate databases and having your WMS say one thing for inventory and NetSuite say something different and working to reconcile those databases. You don't have to worry about that with a native solution like RF Smart.
And I guess with that native solution, the user would even notice that it's out. It's something that is not NetSuite.
Exactly.
Standard
like
NetSuite.
Right. So many people, ask us, well, it's hard for me to tell where NetSuite stops and RF Smart begins. And that's on purpose. That's on design, right? We want it to be as simple as possible for the end user. A lot of people are already familiar with NetSuite. So if you're familiar with NetSuite, RF Smart's going to feel very familiar for you as well.
Yeah. Right. So now we know what a WMS is and how it is presented on an ERP. Can we talk a little bit about the item journey in a typical WMS?
Yeah, absolutely. So typically the journey always begins with receiving inventory, right? Everybody receives an inventory and then it kind of flows through the process, right? So it's important to note like what best practices are for receiving, because there's a lot of different ways that you can use a warehouse management system. One thing that's unique about our Smart is that we like to tailor our solution and configure it based on the environment, right? Based on the customer. So we have over 1,500 NetSuite businesses using RF Smart actively, and it's a very wide range of people, right? So we have some retailers that are just using us for things like cycle counting. We have advanced manufacturers using us for food and beverage manufacturing all the way through. And you can imagine those are very different environments, right? So we're not necessarily going to force users and companies to tailor their operations to our solution. We want to tailor our solution to most optimally be used for their operations. That being said, there are best practices, right? And so being in the warehouse management space for over 40 years and being at our sole focus, we really are able to bring a lot of those best practices for what we've seen. And we've likely worked with a business similar to the other businesses that come and look at us, and we're able to provide those best practices. So one of the best practices that I would say is very common for receiving inventory is a two-step put-away process. So the concept there being you receive inventory in, you want to maybe do a QC, or maybe check it, inspect it before it is put away, and then you do a put away where a user is kind of routed in an optimal path to kind of go through and put items away, right? And so we do that in a couple different ways. One, we want to streamline the receiving process. You want to get those items off that truck as fast as possible, right? Get it all into inventory. And so we've optimized that workflow in the system to make it as little clicks as possible. If you want to do tally scanning, you can do that. If you just want to enter quantities, support cereals, lots, right? Support all those things for receiving. And once you have it in that receiving bin or QC area, then there's the put away step where we're going to suggest a bin for that item to go and live with if you're using bins. If you're not using bins, we fully support that as well. It would just live in the location. But if you're using bins, you may want the user to be told where to go put those items away. So we'll show them a preferred bin, right? If there's a preferred bin in NetSuite, we will show them where that item currently lives in all other bins, right? And we're going to suggest and say, hey, you should go here. We'll also show things like capacity, how much is available space is left in this bin, right? Because I don't want to go to this bin if it's our preferred bin, if there's no space, if it's full, right? So we'll kind of route them through what the best pick path, or options are for putting items away. But at the same time, we don't want to lock them. We don't want them to be sent to a bin, and then if they're not able to get there, there's a forklift in the way or something. So we do what we call more of a suggested, directed put away. So that's kind of the first inbound process. Logically from there, if you're doing things like preferred bins or having a pick face where you like to have a primary pick location, that's where like replenishment comes into play. And general bin management, inventory management is really important. We have a lot of replenishment functionality to support based on min-max or demand, right, where if you need to keep a forward picking location replenished from overstock, we kind of run those reports in the background and the user is notified, hey, there's a replenishment request for you. Go bring item A from here to here. Mm-hmm. So replenishment's important. I'll touch a little bit on manufacturing. Don't need to spend a lot of time there because it's not for everybody. But if you are manufacturing, whether it's simple assembly builds for things like embroideries, right, in NetSuite, all the way to advanced whip and routing, where you want to track time and labor and have like kiosks where users log in and say, I'm working on this order. Here's my start time. Here's my stops time, right? Whip and routing and all of that. So we support all of that level of functionality within NetSuite. And certainly that's an area where a lot of manufacturers within NetSuite have come to us to automate the work order completion process. So if you're not using manufacturing, kind of the next piece is the outbound process, right? And outbound is really important, and there's a lot of different ways to handle outbound, right? There's picking one order at a time, right? Which a lot of people start with because it's kind of what they're used to. But also when you're like in an e-commerce environment, typically that's not very efficient, right? You may want to pick multiple orders at a time. And so there's a couple ways to handle that. We certainly have very basic sales order picking where we just tell me the order or the orders that I'm going to pick, and we're going to route you in an efficient pick path, whether it's through FIFO or FIFO, whether it's through best bin logic, or whether it's through a preferred bin logic, right? So we will route them in an efficient pick path. But if you're really wanting to step it up to the next level, that's where you want to look into wave picking. So we have two products called Pick Manager and Pick Planner, and they are an advanced automated platform for doing wave generation. And this is where you can start utilizing things like totes to go paperless. And we have a lot of e-commerce customers that'll use totes and pick into the totes and eliminate paper completely. Or if you're going to start splitting orders, maybe you want to have certain people pick in a case unit of measure and other people that are picking in eaches for different spots of the warehouse. So we can be very simple to very complex when it comes to pick logic. And that scalability is really important for a lot of our customers. Absolutely. And then from there, the next logical step is kind of the shipping piece, right? And shipping is an area that we've invested a lot in. I know we might talk about it a little bit later on this podcast as well. But shipping is really important, and we certainly are working to support our customers in the shipping area. The last point I'll note that I know we didn't touch on is cycle counting, inventory counting, right? So that's important for everybody. People are usually doing it, full physicals at the end of the year, which are extremely painful for a lot of businesses. No one likes doing them. They take a lot of time. They're very expensive.
Typically shut down for a week.
Absolutely, exactly. And that can be very expensive. A lot of times you're paying overtime, working on the weekends, right? A lot of our customers use our cycle counting where you can do ABC classification, right? You can pick specific bins or items. You can do on-the-fly counts. But by more structuring it and scheduling those counts through an automated program, a lot of our customers are able to eliminate the need for full physicals altogether by doing just regular counts, for specific items. And by the end of the year, you're going through a full warehouse count, usually multiple times. And you'll have that whole audit trail for compliance and things like that. So a lot of our customers are either eliminating full physicals altogether or significantly reducing the amount of time it takes by using RSmart to complete full physicals. There's a huge, very easily calculatable ROI just from cycle counting often for implementing a warehouse management system.
Wow.
Interesting. Wow. That's a great journey.
Yeah, it's excellent. So I know we just touched on shipping a little bit. You guys had a big announcement to make here at SuiteWorld this week. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have a new shipping product that we have released called RSmart Shipping. We've actually had a shipping solution for the past 6 years or so, but one of the things that was important to a lot of our customers was being able to do more advanced kind of rules-based rate shopping, right? So a lot of our customers want to take as much information away from the end user as possible when it comes to shipping and selecting rates, right? So if you're wanting to look at SLA or, locations and things like that and have specific rules for when you should use a specific carrier or when you should use a specific shipping method. So we've got a very advanced rules-based shipping engine now that we have built through our RSmart shipping application. It currently supports small parcel for UPS, FedEx, USPS. But we are also continuing to expand upon that. I would love to talk with kind of companies, in all shapes and sizes for how they're using shipping to see if our solution's a good fit. We certainly built it based on the customer feedback of we're using RSmart to do everything in the four walls of the warehouse, but we'd like to use you for shipping as well, right? Because our customer experience is very unique and our customers like working with us. And so we've taken that customer feedback, and that's how we build, solutions through our product is based on our customer feedback and requests. We've already got about a dozen customers live with the solution already that kind of helped us build it out through the past couple of years. But now we have officially with SuiteWorld this year launched out to the entire broad audience, not just our current customers, but also new prospective customers as well to take a look at. And we're really excited to look at it. If you're at SuiteWorld, then come by our booth. If not, we'd love to reach out on our website and talk to you more about it.
It's pretty exciting. That was kind of a missing piece at the end of the journey, right?
Absolutely. And now we're kind of that end-to-end solution, right? And so that's what we're trying to be for our customers is, be that end-to-end piece.
All right. So that's great.
Well, thank you, Lawrence, for taking the time to meet with us today. And we look forward to working with you in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you, Lawrence.
You've been listening to Take Me to the Cloud. Thanks for joining us. Don't forget to subscribe to be alerted of new episodes. For more information, visit withum.com.